Hey, oh, how's it going? Um, this chair just feels like it gets lower and lower every single time I get into it. Hello. I've wanted to shoot this for a bit, but I've had some comics pulled here. So a little while ago, I pulled off one of the racks from the shelf, one of those little metal bins, and just pulled out some random stuff, and we had a look at it. I thought I'd do the same thing. I see that this Hedra comic has been kind of on people's lips for a little bit. So I found a copy the other day when I went to the shop. I didn't realize it was magazine size, I guess. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the people showing the comics have giant hands. I'm not really sure. So you get a first and a second printing. So I figured I'd grab the first printing. I read it yesterday. Really enjoyed it. It is really good. Pretty great way of kind of laying out a story. I thought pretty enjoyable. So it got me thinking when I saw people talking about it. It got me thinking of kind of art comics. I'm not a big fan of putting tags and stuff on things, but I don't really know how else to describe it. So I pulled some random stuff off my shelves, and I thought we'd just look at some stuff that maybe is sort of along the lines of kind of what is comics and what's just art and pinups and that type of thing. And I think it's, I don't know, it's a vague premise for an excuse to sit and shoot something, right? Or to do a live stream. This one I've talked about before, and I found it in my collection and pulled it out. This is Jack's Luck Runs Out. Xeric powered, distributed by Top Shelf. So this was Jason Little. I guess he won the Xeric grant and produced this little number. When I found it all these years ago, I think there was a few of them out there in the bin that I was digging through, and I picked up one, and I really wish I would have picked up a few of them because they're good ones to kind of just give away. So I guess anytime you put any sort of tag on something or any sort of label on things, what does that definition mean? Something that's a little more artistic. I would say that for the most part, it's stuff that kind of is more based on a premise, a little more so based on like a premise or a specific style of art or a specific delivery method for the comic than it is story driven. Some of these that we're going to look at, I would say some of the stuff that I really, really love visually that would kind of be in this art comics kind of world. The story is second nature. And oftentimes, for me personally, obviously, this is all personal opinions, the stories are kind of thin. I'd say that's not the case with Hedra. The story was pretty great. It wasn't earth-shattering or anything, but it was good, and it was still, again, the idea was more about the delivery method for that kind of story and trying to break down a page a little differently and breaking down panels differently. So, I mean, for me, this is kind of the premise of the playing card art and then building a story around it. It's been forever since I've read this, so I really can't tell you what the story is about. But it looks beautiful, really, really nicely done with the minimal color there. And the second part of this story is this stereoscopic, is that what they call it? Full color stereo processed 3D comic. So every single page is laid out with two panels, and you kind of, it's one of those you bring it close to your eyes and you try to move it far enough and cross your eyes just enough to be able to see one image. So the two images kind of, there we go, got it right there. The two images kind of blend into one. I mean, the effect is incredible. And again, story be damned. It's a pretty cool premise to try to get someone to completely fuck up their eyes to read your story. And I think it works very well. So there we go. Look at kind of Art Comic 1. Speaking of the 3D is definitely a gimmick. I mean, some of the things, sometimes when you're dealing with art comics and things, or more artistic comics, it can be looked at as a bit gimmicky for sure. And what's more gimmicky than 3D comics? I did a video a lifetime ago on this specific book where we flipped through it. I have quite a few 3D comics. I pick them up when I see them. They're usually dirt cheap because nobody wants the damn things. This, for my money, if you find this in the dollar bin or 50-cent bin or 25-cent bin, really honestly pick it up. The 3D in this, especially, I can't remember if there's a couple of stories in it, but there's parts in the first story here that the 3D is some of the best that I've seen. Absolutely fucking top shelf. The way that the layers are used, I mean, obviously you're not going to get much of an effect there, but just to show you kind of the interior, the way that it's used throughout this, really taking advantage of the 3D, plus then the costume design of the character Merlin here, with these kind of drips coming down his mask, work beautifully in 3D. Gorvidal, nice to see you. That's okay. We are going to be doing a live show on Sunday there, Gore, with Adam and Rasa over on Adam's channel. I think we're going to be doing it kind of the usual time, so feel free to stop in then. This one will also be uploaded afterwards, obviously. It's good to see you, though. So, again, highly recommended. No, watch out, watch out. You're stepping on stuff. What do you need there, sweetie?
So we are going to have movie night, so
okay.
I think I should just close your door.
Okay, sure.
It'll be sort of loud.
Okay.
So
what are you watching?
We don't know yet.
You don't know yet? Oh, okay. Do you want to show your missing tooth? Ding, 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 ding. Tooth is gone. Tooth be gone. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Nice. You got your face mask. You're all ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be up soon.
Okay.
Okay, love you. So there we go, the 3D. And kind of jumping off from there, we're just going to get even further down. Some of the stuff, it's difficult for me not to pick up. I'm absolutely a visual person when it comes to comics. That's the main draw for me. You can have the greatest story, and if the art is shit, I won't have time for it. I won't be able to do it. I literally won't. I mean, and that kind of is the case with some of the modern mainstream stuff. I guess not even modern, just the mainstream stuff. It just doesn't always speak to me. And the stories could be fantastic. You know, I hear things like the Doctor Strange run is pretty great. The new one, I flipped through one today, and the art just doesn't grab me because I was flipping through Marvel and DC stuff, more so Marvel. But I was kind of toying with the idea of maybe picking up a newer book just to kind of see what's going on. And every one that I picked up, it just didn't resonate. The art just didn't resonate. But then I see something like this on the shelf, and I can't not pick it up. I've got another book from Sember Lidis. I'm forgetting what it's called now. It's a collection of short stories, though. There's a very Mobius vibe going on here, but I guess this sort of falls in line with Hedra as well, because this is a wordless comic. A little bit more mini-sized. So, I mean, something like this, even if there isn't much of a story with the art, the presentation and the style of the art to kind of immerse yourself in the world is what's going to draw me into this kind of thing. more so than something that may have an incredible story with incredibly generic art, unless that's kind of like the subversive element. You know, I can think of like an Alan Moore, although for the most part, the artists that he's worked with have been very unique and really great. So I would say that if there was somebody doing an incredible story with in that style of art to kind of make a bigger point, I guess, or to really draw you in a different way, I'd go for that. And then nothing beats a good old anthology. Or is this an anthology? Just this is the one person? Oh yeah, no, this is the one. This is Helen Joe, of course, Frontier #2. Looks like I got it at Beguiling, so in Toronto. I love Helen Joe's art. So then the other thing that sometimes happens with these art comics is then you get something like this where there isn't a story really. It's all pinups and stuff. And that's where it becomes a lot more on that art vein, right? Where you're seeing this cartoony comic booky style in the form of just pages and pages of art. Helen Joe's incredible. I really, really like her style. I wish she has done a boatload more. Some of the stuff that she's done, I think in, what's that anthology called? I'm blanking on the name. I think she had some stories in an anthology that we may have looked at recently too, that had Johnny Negron. In the Thickness anthology, I think she had a couple of stories. But the other thing with some of this stuff, when you're getting into this area of art comics, you're getting stuff that there's not huge printings of. So once you've missed it, you've missed it. And depending on the artist, they can all of a sudden jump up in price. And one of the guys that I've raved about many times, William Cardini, with a little mini comic here called Sphere Fear. And I think this was risograph printed. And again, another wordless comic taking on the form of a comic, but not presenting it in a very traditional way. We're not seeing multiple panels on a page. We're seeing kind of one panel per page, but it really is about the presentation. It really is about the printing process itself and the way colors and imagery kind of sit on top of each other, with his very, very, to my eyes, incredible art style. I seriously cannot get enough. Oh, there, I guess it's not totally wordless. There we go. And then when we get into more of the surreal edge, where there's absolutely a story, but you're hard pressed to necessarily see what that story is all the time. Another one of my favorites, Tetsunori Tawaraya. I always have to look at his name to make sure that I say it correctly. And this is from why am I blanking? Hollow Press. I'm completely blanking on the name. Yes, Hollow Press, yeah. And it's on that Plike paper, so the plastic-like paper. And again, it's one that I've raved about before, but it's always worth showing off Tetsunori's artwork, especially on this, the blackest paper I've ever seen in my life, and the most silver, shiny ink you've ever seen in your life. The video does not do it justice, trust me. Seeing it in person, it's really, really incredible. And I think I may have mentioned it before. There's sort of a Cronenberg-ish type of vibe to his stuff. Not that it's necessarily body horror, but there's something about it that, I don't know, just gives me a bit of Cronenberg vibes when I've read these in the past. Can't quite pinpoint it, but filled with incredibly insane designed demons and monsters, and telling some sort of stream of consciousness type of story, very otherworldly, completely creates his own worlds. But again, is beautiful to look at, beautiful to hold in your hands. Really, really great. I see I pulled another Will Cardini as well too. Tales from the Hyperverse, Retrofit. And I think this one had, was it Josh Baer doing some coloring? Sorry, Josh Burgraff doing some coloring in a couple of these stories. Really nice page layouts there. Again, with the beautiful colors. Here we go. Here's the Josh Burgraff colored stuff. So this one a little more traditional for sure, in kind of layout and panel to panel and storytelling, but incredibly unique visual style. I pulled some stuff from Color Code because risograph, it's the hot thing. All the kids love the risograph, but I'm a big fan of it. The smell of these books, Rasa, the smell of the risograph printed books is very, very unique. So this is his story of war from Color Code 2017. And I'm sure we'll find an artist name in here. Although sometimes you're hard pressed. And right now, Gun Show, right? Yeah, Gun Show, of course. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Sear your eyeballs on that. No panel borders whatsoever, but still, you're still getting the sense of the panels there. You're still getting the sense of the story, and it's an absolutely grisly affair. Space junk, the negative space there for the panel borders. This one is just an absolute treat. And I mean, if I respond to art, I respond to color even more. As much as I love black and white, we were talking about it last time with Dr. Monkeypot and Rasa when we were talking about the Hellboy in Hell art book, where it was all just black and white. I love me some really bold, crazy ass color, and that seems to be a trend over the more recent years that has stuck around with a lot of artists. So that's a beauty. Let's pull these ones here. I think these are all Color Code as well. Except for that one. I'm sort of ready, I promise. Yeah, here's another Color Code. QP Comics, I think is what that says. So again, Color Code from Toronto. Spoken about them before. I had some prints. I'd signed up for a Rizzo print workshop that unfortunately I didn't make it in time to, but I got some prints made from them, or they were kind enough to mix me some prints of some of my art. And I got to see the studio space, which was great. So Color Code as well. Good Evening by Jamil, oh boy, Jamiyla. And there's a look in that. Moving on. Let's stay on the color tip. Just a couple more to look here. Be a shorter video. John Vermiglia. When I was speaking about Jesse Jacobs, the other guy that I got into, who doesn't have nearly enough comics work. I think he does a lot of work with animation. Is John Vermiglia. He does not have nearly enough. I got into him about the same time as Jesse Jacobs. I might have actually ordered these together. Who put this out? Yeah, this is Koyama Press as well, so I probably did. But this one kind of starts off sort of Little Nemo in Slumberland-ish, with a kid going to bed or getting home and going to bed to explore a world in his dreams. and every single page has a different color palette and has a different kind of world that he's visiting, inhabited with different creatures that all sort of look the same, all wrinkly and melty and beautifully colored. I think this is another guy who's worked on Adventure Time, and you can see some of that influence in there. Beautiful book, double page spread, every single page in the book. Well worth picking up if you can find it. I don't remember what year this came out, but this is a number of years old now. Yeah, this is 2013. So he had a mini comic that was, oh, hey, Paulo, just finished at Jared's. Awesome. It was good to catch you guys for a bit there just before dinner. Completely blanked on what I was going to say, so that's fine. Yeah, I really don't know. It's okay. So let's go to another one of my favorites. When I think art, and if I had a gun to my head for favorite artists, Will Sweeney would be near the top of that list. I have quite a few things from Will. I was about to place another order just the other week, and unfortunately, he was sold out. He had found some copies of another one of his comics or art zines or something, and I was going to jump on one of them. But the thing is, when I order from a guy like Will, Alakazam is his website. It comes from the UK, so I try to order a number of things at once because that shipping from the UK, even if it's just for one item, is pretty substantial. So unfortunately, I didn't do it this time, but he's a guy that I've been a fan of for quite a long time and have bought quite a bit of stuff off of. He sells t-shirts, sells all sorts of things, art prints as well too. I don't think I've seen him selling off original art at any point. He does live in the world of comics for sure. This particular book, Citadel, though, is a collection of artwork. And as you can see with your own eyes, incredibly Kirby inspired, incredible Kirby inspiration there. And I absolutely love it. It's like Kirby mixed with Mobius, really. You know, if we're gonna just start comparing things to other things, which I'm sure artists all over the world love it when people do. Hey, you know what your stuff reminds me of? I'm sure they just go batty. They just love it. But anyway, to give you a little bit of context, but there's Citadel. And one of the last ones I pulled was a little bit of a bigger affair here from Retrofit from 2015, Mowgli's Mirror. There you go. Didn't you guys say that you were reading Jungle Book, Paulo, or was that another jungle comic that you were reading previously? This one's a giant. It lives in a treasury-sized bag on my shelf. So I think this one I found in Saskatchewan. Again, wordless comic, a little more traditional in its layout, but the colors and the style and the art itself are what drew me to it. And here we go. There's a great example. So really, really breaking down a page into multiple panels that almost blend into one, you know, blur your eyes a little bit, and you've just got a nice abstract painting there. Really, really nice. Really nice stuff. So there you go. There's a look at a few of the art comics that I've pulled off the shelf. It's one of those things that because I'm not buying a ton of stuff anymore, and I'm realizing that I have I've got a few of you that have joined me over the years that maybe haven't seen videos from way before. So I figure it's nice to share some of the stuff I may have talked about many, many years ago, especially when we've talked about my 8-year anniversary. So I figured it would be nice to, every once in a while, pull out some books that I haven't talked about for quite a while and show them off again. This was another one that was standing by on the side too, another beguiling find as well. Jared gets us links for public domain comics to read and discuss on the YouTube show. That's a pretty great idea. Read Jungle Comics number 97 last week. It had a Kaanga story. Amazing. So Jungle Comics 97. I can picture the title Jungle Comics. I know I've seen the list. The one you guys were talking about today was a Western, hey? And I think you were the only one out of the three who was saying that you weren't impressed whatsoever. And for those of you that didn't watch it, Paulo made the comparison of Robert Crumb to the Dell comics of Undergrounds, which was fucking hilarious. One other one that was sitting here too, Benjamin Mara, book of the book of Cave Tooth. So I believe this was all kind of Dungeons and Dragons inspired drawings and art that he collected. And was this a color code as well? Yeah, this was a color code as well. So 2016. And I mean, Mara, obviously at this point on this channel, especially, you know about Benjamin Mara, but this one is just art pieces throughout. Beautiful. Yeah, smells fresh, Rasa. It smells fresh. That's about it. Thanks very much. A little shorter video. Join us on Sunday. Yeah, totally. I'll go back and watch the video and try to, I think YouTube, or it used to, maybe it doesn't anymore. I think it used to let you download the videos too. I also used to have a program on my computer, and I don't remember what it was called. This was quite a few years ago, where you could put a link to a video, no matter where it's come from. You could pop the link into the program and it would download the video right to your computer. But I can't remember what it was, because yes, that would be great to kind of have chopped out of there, Paulo. So Sunday we're gonna have a chat with Rasa and Dr. Monkeybot over on Dr. Monkeybot's channel. Tune in. It's gonna be an extra special episode, and I think we're keeping it at the same time that we have in the past. So 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Which I believe is what? Is that 8:30 their time, or is it 9:30? I can never remember without my phone. Anyway, thanks very much for tuning in. Nice to see you all. And we'll talk to you on Sunday. Come and join us on Sunday.